fiance and I love animals, and I grew up obsessed with Tarzan. So, like, any excuse I have to go
to see a man in a loincloth.
Yeah.
She might never point it on it in the morning, I know this. She a slave to the day, and the dinner that she laid was ambitious. But the roast, to be clear, wasn't witty either, dear. And I'll be bold enough to say, you're not cooking to please our family. And I might be an ass, but I'm ass enough to act like a wise one. And I might lack a wit, but I'm apt enough to finish up the trifle. But my words, to be fair, are precise and though I care, you never know what I might say.
I'm just glad we're starting to class up this podcast with a real intro music from, a better band.
Wait a minute. I wrote the old intro.
Hey.
What?
I wrote the music to the old intro.
Actually, no. That's fair. Not that you're untalented, but that's not the band that we're in.
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah. Hunter wants everybody to know he had nothing to do with our crappy other intro.
Yeah. That was all Smith.
God, I really like that though. That new. Can we keep that? Is that?
I don't think we can keep it, but
it's a one-time deal.
Guys, so what they're talking about, the intro music that you just heard leading into the podcast is a phenomenal band out of Brooklyn called Paris Monster. I saw them here in Knoxville over the weekend, and they were so cool, man. And it's just, you should just YouTube it. I'm not going to do an overly long explanation, but it's two guys. They're both doing way more work than anybody in a band should have to do, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Probably most well appreciated visually, but also, as you can hear, they sound great, and they agreed to let us help promote them with this podcast. And again, I can't say enough good things. You go check them out on socials. Their social is at the Paris Monster, or sometimes I believe it's maybe Paris_Monster. But go find them, check them out, give them all your money. And they're really, if you get a chance to see these guys, they're phenomenal. But check them out on socials; you'll see their tour dates and stuff. And again, the song, one of the songs on their EP is the song you just heard going into it. But then we're also going to play some more of their music at the end of the episode. So, Paris Monster, thank you so much for letting us play your music on our podcast. We really want all our listeners to check you out, and I hope to see you guys again really, really soon. Guys, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good.
We have a guest today, don't we?
Yes, we do.
A very special guest. Would you like to intro her?
Oh, the lovely Jessica Clowers?
The lovely and talented Jessica Clowers is with us today.
You one-upped me.
Yes. Jessica, go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience, Jessica.
I'm Jessica Clowers, and I work at the zoo.
That's right. Jessica knows a lot about animals, and if for all of you who've been waiting for the episode where we really talk about animals, this is it. Okay, so anyway, and also I'm here with Hunter and Casey. What are you guys doing? You guys doing all right?
We're here with you.
Hunter doesn't give a crap. Okay.
Hunter's just not going to talk.
Speaking of animals.
What would be great is if the entire time we recorded this episode, he just wasn't here, but we'd always just be like, Hunter, what do you think? All right, Hunter's just remaining silent still.
On that day that we actually don't have him in the room, nobody will be able to tell.
Yeah, it'd be great. I mean, people today, we don't let them talk enough anyways.
Well, that's, you know what? That's a point of debate, all right? But anyway, no, I've known Jessica for a really long time. She's a wonderful person. She's actually been kind of like my authority on how, like I'm very, very curious about I'm such a huge fucking fan of animals, and anybody knows me knows that like I'm completely obsessed with animals and the care of animals and that kind of stuff. And I would always used to bounce questions off Jessica of what was like if animals are being treated properly, like in the zoo or like at the circus. And she actually used to tour with Ringling Brothers Circus. She has all kinds of stories about that, and we're going to get into all that kind of stuff. So, is there anything you would like to address? Anything going on that we need to know about the zoo or anything?
About the zoo,
like,
it's
they're always making a new exhibit there. Like I feel like so, and I'm kind of behind. Why don't you tell us what's going on lately? We opened a new gibbon exhibit and a new langur exhibit, which is amazing. If you come over there, you're going to see that gibbon all over the place. He loves it. I love the gibbons. Mm-hmm. If anybody listening to this doesn't know what a gibbon sounds like, Google it and then get your ass to the zoo and go see the gibbons. It's incredible.
Everybody that lives in that neighborhood can hear them.
Okay, well, let's go through you were talking about the new exhibits. Go through that.
And like Casey said, that we opened the tiger exhibit before we opened the gibbon and langur exhibit. It kind of was like in two phases, but yeah, it's both. You can get up close and personal with all of them. It's just really, really awesome.
Can I come to the zoo and hang out with you and actually pet a tiger?
You know what?
I really
You're
want to
that
pet
asshole
one.
that always goes, hey, is there any way I could feed the alligator?
The first part of that question was
I
uncalled
just
for
want
anyways.
to touch a big cat. Like I want to see a big cat and go, Just pet it. Just pet it once on its
I'm
big
gonna
head.
say that no.
What a
I like
massacre.
cats and big like jungle cats.
Tiger's not
fascinate me.
exactly like the cat you're used to. The
I
tigers
know that, but they still fascinate me. They're
No, they're
awesome
beautiful.
animals.
They're so beautiful. Like I totally get it. Like,
And I see these YouTube videos where people have them like living in their house and they're domesticated and they're like giant. They're just giant domesticated cats, and I'm like,
The tiger-
this is a terrible idea, but I kind of want one.
yeah, well, and
That's why you want to go to Mars too. He's full of terrible ideas, and you're driving like the
I want to go to
base of
Mars
your
with a
DNA
tiger. Yes,
is,
thank you.
What
Load 'em
shouldn't I
up.
do? Let's
yeah,
do it.
yeah. He's gonna go to Mars with the tiger.
Hey,
Not
Hunter,
one.
can you do me a favor and go back to being a mute? That'd be
To
great.
be, to be fair to Casey, the first bad idea he had in regards to all this was, hey, we should do a podcast, and God bless you for it. So maybe there's something to be said for your shitty ideas and how they actually
If you
work
actually
out.
wound up on Mars with the tiger, that'd be kind of badass.
All right, well, both of you, hold on a second. Jessica, what other new exhibits are at the zoo?
Exactly.
We after that we're kind of focusing on the new herpetology building, so that's going to start construction pretty soon.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
What does
it's-
that mean? Sorry.
So our area where the reptiles are is like it's been the same since I was like 7. And they're gonna actually break ground and build a whole new exhibit, but it's not gonna open. I mean, I feel maybe next year. I can't remember, but it's gonna take a while. But it's gonna be this huge complex. It's gonna be amazing. A lot of new species.
Can
We're
you
gonna
say
be,
which species, or is that under wraps?
I can't say.
Yeah. Shh.
Because it's still honestly like some of it's still in the works. Like they're still trying to figure it out and logistics
Right.
and stuff. So
Well, and you said reptiles generally, right? I remember another associate of yours, our friend Christina,
oh yeah,
that works at the zoo, had her
Yeah.
birthday today, and
Yes.
on Facebook she asked for donations to help the turtles, and I actually donated.
oh yeah.
That's right, because I'm a sucker.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I like-
not true.
I like
We love
turtles.
turtles. Of course, we love.
What are
turtles.
those turtles going to do with your money?
Let's hopefully stay
Save
off the
the
streets.
planet.
Hopefully they'll stay off the streets. So anyway, so tiger exhibit, gibbon exhibit, and then coming up herpetology exhibit.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And are there any other things that people should know about like the zoo? Okay, well, let's back up real quick. I can imagine that like some of the big challenges that they face at the zoo is just like feeding all the damn it. How much like what are the big things? What do people need to know about how they can help the zoo to make sure that it's here forever, it doesn't go away, and we can all enjoy it for a long time?
One thing that I realize that people don't realize it's a nonprofit organization. So we get our money through donations and ticket sales, food sales, gift shop sales. We get all the money that way, and it just goes right back into the zoo. So that's how we keep
Right.
everything going. So the more that people come, the more that people come to enjoy the exhibits, it actually helps save those species that are there.
And there's a couple events yearly. I believe they're still doing like Feast with the Beast,
Heck yeah, they are.
Boo at the Zoo.
Yep.
Those are so important to go to that. Like, don't sit, if you've got kids or whatever, you want to take them somewhere to do something cool, don't fucking sit that out, man. I've been to a couple of those and they're amazing.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's even like a band playing there, like Valerie Buckner, whoever the hell that is.
Oh,
Man, I was,
snap.
last year,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, the Pop Rock are
I
playing.
know,
Oh my God.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. Shout
So,
out. She's going to punch me the
With the
next time I see her.
special events that have like the discount thing, like bring XYZ and you get in for $1 or whatever. Is it a point of frustration because you still want people to come, but it's like this would be better if they should. How does that?
Like if it's a special event and they come and
Where
they
it's
bring,
cheaper versus the
Yeah.
actual price normally. Do you know?
Typically that gets more people there, so it kind of balances itself out. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the zoo is probably. I mean, some people might think it's a little pricey. If you have a family though, it's beneficial to get like a family pass. So if you're going to come multiple times, especially during the summer, they have a splash pad there, and it's so hot. Like you can come check out the animals. Go over to the splash pad beside giraffe and just let your kids play in the water.
Amazing.
Like I want to play in the water. Like
Yeah,
it looks so much fun.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
And again, man, like if you're one of those people that sing like, "Wow, the zoo's a little expensive," like, really? Because how else are you going to see a fucking tiger?
Yeah.
It's not that bad, anyways. My fiance and I love animals, and I grew up obsessed with Tarzan. So, like, any excuse I have to go,
To see a man in a loincloth.
yeah. And
Me too.
Usually it's me, but
Sorry.
Clowers.
but no, like any chance. That's something that we did when we first started dating, and we've tried to go. We've gone more than this, but we've tried to go at least once a year and be like, no matter what, like a year can't go by without stopping in now. We went twice last year. I'm trying to bring that up more, especially with the whenever the baby gorilla got advertised, I lost my shit.
Okay,
Like,
so
we need
talk
to
about
go.
that. What's up?
So we have 3 baby gorillas. I believe the 2 oldest just turned 3, and the other is going to turn 2. So they're so much fun. They're all over the exhibit. They're playing. They're wrestling with each other. It looks kind of rough sometimes, but that's just how gorillas play.
Sure.
So yeah.
Oh man, that sounds
It's
awesome.
so much fun to watch them.
Now I have a question, and this is something that I was like ever since Spencer was like, I'm bringing Clowers on. I was like, I want to ask her this question
Air.
on air, because it's something that I think is talked about a lot, but a lot of people don't have the full knowledge of it, and it's like treatment of animals and why animals are in the zoo and not out in the wild. And from my understanding, it's because these animals that are in the zoo probably can't survive out in the wild because they have like something wrong with them, or they were like injured, or they were born in more of a domesticated situation, so they're put in the zoo because out in the wild they wouldn't last.
It depends on the species.
Okay.
So back in the 70s, whatever, way back, people just didn't know. Like, they would bring animals maybe over from Africa. Like, we have 2 of our elephants are actually from Africa. What that happens though with those type of animals, they become ambassadors for their species, their counterparts in the wild. So say you're not gonna, if you don't see a tiger or see an elephant like in person, it's harder to understand, to care about them. Mm-hmm. So if you see them and all of a sudden you're like, I love elephants, or I love tigers, I love gorillas, and then you kind of want to get more involved to kind of help save that species. Some species you can breed and release into the wild, so it just depends on what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to mention, is that if you see an animal in captivity, that's not necessarily a mistreated animal. That people just go, oh, it's terrible that it's in that cage. Well, sometimes they're born in captivity. Sometimes they're rescued from less than perfect situation. It's not the kind of thing where, like, and like you said, they become an ambassador for the species. Like, you see those animals, you go, oh my God, I love it. I love it. I do that all the way. If I see just an animal in the parking lot, I'm like, shit, you know?
Well, that's like people come and I don't want to see the great apes because they look so sad. Have you looked at their pictures in the wild? They look exactly the same. Yeah. They have the same, they look mad all the time. Unless they see their keepers. I can go up to the chimps and they will all, through their exhibit, interact with me. They'll start flipping their lip like this, and they'll like come up over to me and everything. But regular visitors, they're like, I don't care. I'm just going to sit here. And people take pictures. They look so sad. They look exactly the same in the wild.
Amazing. So you have. Okay, let's talk about that. Talk to us about relationships you have with some of these animals that are like, just, is there an animal at the zoo you consider like your best friend, like of all of them?
Oh.
I bet it's a red panda.
That's a tough question.
Red pandas are cool. Yeah, red pandas are awesome.
Or they're like a couple that
there's a couple. Of course, I love the elephants because I worked with elephants. Tonka by far is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Our big bull, he's 15,000 pounds. Little over maybe 15,000 pounds. So he's
I bet
really
he's a
big.
sweetheart, though.
He is such a good boy. And we just did intros with him. He hadn't been with our female Edie, and we did intros with him. And he was perfect. He was a perfect gentleman. So he's awesome.
I want to hug it too. I just want to go to the zoo and hug all the animals.
Amazing.
What?
What do you feel like the smartest animals at the zoo are? The primates?
Elephants or primates, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say the elephants that's one of the most overlooked things about elephants, is how blindingly intelligent they are. And they have an incredible memory, and then they also have like a huge range of like emotional components and stuff.
They do.
People just go, oh, it's big.
They're incredibly smart. Like, if you're trying to teach them a new behavior, they learn it so fast. They get it. They're like, okay, cool. Let's do this.
Shit, is that creepy? Is it ever creepy to be around an animal that big that's that fucking smart?
Just one day it's going to be like, hey, just so you know, you can actually talk to me. I know a lot of times you just like give me hand signals.
We talk to each other every night.
Yeah, like we've been playing this prank on you. I didn't want you to know, but we all started feeling really bad.
You're really cool, and we shouldn't be, you know.
So just let you know, we speak.
Yeah, I wonder, like, what happens at night? You know, like, what are you guys doing? Is it like that movie, The Zoo? But I'm sure it's not. But it's...
Of course it is.
I remember the first time I ever saw a dolphin, like, in person. I think I was in Florida, and we were at, like, the Clearwater Marine Aquarium or whatever, and they've got a dolphin that they rescued. And, like, you get to go right up to the edge of the pen, and the thing comes up, and it looks at you. And the way it looks at you, it's not the same way that, like, your dog or your cat looks at you. It looks at you like another person would. Mm-hmm. And it just sort of
Dolphins are so smart.
It's creepy. It's like if a total stranger walked up to you and just sort of stared at you and was like...
Now, here's another question talking about like animals being kept in captivity.
Right.
Zoos get grief for having animals in captivity, of course. However, SeaWorld, I feel like they get a little bit more
Yes.
heat, and I don't really understand why. I know a lot of people say, like, after they watch that documentary Blackfish, it's just like, you know, of course they're like, oh my god, I saw this killer whale is being poorly mistreated. But can you say about the zoo the same about SeaWorld, where they're just ambassadors?
Yes, I think what people's issue is with that is that a lot of people have issues with animals being used for entertainment.
Gotcha.
So it's the same thing with the circus. They didn't believe that those animals need to be used for entertainment. I never watched Blackfish because I knew that it would probably upset me. I never watched it. I know some of my friends had watched it and they were all about it and they were like, oh, it's so true. The problem with those type of things, they're always a little more biased on one side or the other, regardless, always. It doesn't matter. Of course, on social media, I'm friends with lots of different trainers from lots of different places. And one of the, I forget what her name is, but one of the female trainers that actually died at SeaWorld, her parents were saying that Blackfish was a total sham.
Yeah, and I didn't watch it either because I knew I'd feel the same way. I was like, man, and like I've been to SeaWorld and like I don't know, this isn't a real scientific explanation, but like a lot of those animals are not miserable, and I don't know how to like articulate that or how would I actually know. They just weren't. Maybe some of them were, but like it just wasn't that way. And I remember a long time ago when there was a big uproar about animals in the circus, and I knew you worked for the circus. I remember like I reached out to you and I was like, hey man, like I saw this thing and these people are getting real uppity about like animals being mistreated in the circus and how it's a form of abuse, and like just can you speak to that? And like you told me all kinds of things about how well they were cared for and they were treated almost better than the humans, and like they were like royalty in the circus.
I mean, you got to think about it. Like they use them for entertainment, but it's also they use them for education things. We brought out in the circus, we brought out underprivileged kids that had disabilities and things to come and see and touch an elephant, to touch a snake or a dog or a horse or whatever. And some of those kids would have never gotten the opportunity to do that. And then maybe from that, it makes them later on care a little bit more about being nice to animals, don't mistreat them, and that's one thing I do miss about the circus is because you had that ability to bring the kids out. Like I've seen kids, like some kids are like, oh my God, that's an elephant. And they freak out. And some kids try to kiss them, and it's just, I miss seeing that because you can't really, with some of the laws and things like that, you can't do that at the zoo, and it's maybe unsafe because we had Asian elephants in the circus and African elephants at the zoo, and Asian elephants I feel like are a little more domesticated than Africans. But I mean, in the circus, I lived in a trailer right next to those animals every day. Yeah. And I'm not going to say that there wasn't people in the past that didn't, there's videos out there. And even the circus actually showed me when I first joined, they showed me videos. They were like, this is what's out there. This actually happened. This can never happen. This is not what should happen. So they were pretty upfront about it. There was someone, like, you should have seen the amount of food those elephants got. Like, oh my gosh. And there was someone that stayed with them 24/7 at night, giving them hay to keep their, their gut system and everything going. And with the lions and the tigers, the trainer could go in and, like, I'm not saying everybody should do this, but he would brush and blow out the male lion's mane and just make him so
That's what you want to do, Casey.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
No, I understand that. That's fine.
And those are those, like, that's the stories that you don't hear about a lot. And I think it's because so many of the things that get out are real slanted and opinionated. And I think it's important to speak to that. But that was kind of your job a lot of times, wasn't it? To speak to like local press and kind of set the record straight. Did you ever have anybody that was like real shitty about it? And you had to kind of like, tell some.
So in Albuquerque, New Mexico, they were hot cities. So like in California, the West Coast was a little more protester, didn't like the circus. Yeah, like they didn't like us so much. But Albuquerque, New Mexico, I remember there was a reporter who wanted me to say, she kept saying, these stalls for these horses are not big, right? And she just kept wanting me to say that. And I'm like, they are standard for USDA standards. And they don't stay in the stalls all the time.
Yeah.
They're in the stalls, obviously, when other things is going on, but they come out for exercise. They come out for practice. They're not in there all the time. And when we had a space that we could just build a big, like, fence or something, animals just got to hang out. So it's like you're just seeing this like it is right now. It's not always like that.
She's trying to bait you.
Yeah, she should. Absolutely.
Did you ever get misquoted by something in that regard?
There were some newspapers that misquoted me, but not in a bad way.
Okay.
I was like,
Well,
I didn't say it like that, or I didn't exactly, but it was not bad. So, yeah.
What? The
Yeah.
media is not always accurate and right on point? How
What?
crazy. Cool.
Yeah.
God forbid.
Cool story.
Yeah. Well, that's really, really cool. And so, and then the circus, there were two different teams. I remember a lot of people don't know that. It was was it a red team and a blue team?
There was actually three. So there was red and blue, who were the big shows who had like 300 something people,
Yeah.
a lot more animals. And then there was the gold show who had like 100 people, smaller. And that's what I started out on. And then I went to the bigger show.
And are they all three out of commission now? Or
Yeah, they canceled the gold show just because it was smaller, and then eventually they took the elephants off the road, and then a year later they went ahead and just stopped,
oh man,
which made me cry.
I know you were
Yeah.
super sad. I think a lot of people were super sad about it.
Hashtag bring back the circus.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
right, bring it back.
Bring it back. I mean, dude, and I that was such a big deal for me as a kid to get to go to that. And again, changing times, and we've talked about this on a few episodes. But God, dude,
Yeah, there's still some circuses out there. I can't remember all their names, and some people that I know might hear this might be mad at me for not remembering their
It's okay.
names. But they're still out there. They're just smaller shows, but they're still great. The Shrine Circuses still, come around, and I know a few people that work on those shows. So yeah, there was the biggest thing that that ever happened to me in the circus was, oh my gosh, what year was it? I can't remember. Maybe 2012. In April, we were in Tupelo, Mississippi, and somebody drove by and shot one of our elephants.
oh my.
I don't know if you
What
knew
the
that,
fuck?
Spencer.
I don't think I ever heard that.
Yeah, it's actually. I mean, if you YouTube it or Google it, whatever, you'll find it. It was all over the Today Show. And
And what
everything.
happened to the elephant? Like,
She's
Die or
fine.
injured?
No, she
Okay.
was totally fine.
and did the elephant like react crazy? Or?
No.
Jesus.
No, we were in Tupelo. It was an off day, so I think it was a Monday, maybe a Tuesday. It was an off day, and it was nice outside. It was beginning of April in Mississippi, and we were all like grilling out, having some drinks on the lot, and we had they had a big tent over the elephants. They took the sidewalls off because it was nice and breezy.
Sure.
And I probably went to bed at like maybe a little after 2 o'clock in the morning. One of the trainers is banging on my door, and he's like, "Somebody just shot an elephant." And I'm thinking, is he crazy? What? No, is he drunk? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
You know?
You kidding, dude? I'm trying to sleep.
So I kind of go out there and I look and I see all this commotion at the elephants, and I'm like, oh, I should go back inside and put a bra on. This is not good.
Man. Safety first.
So I go in and I put a bra on and I grab all my medical stuff and I go out there, and she was shot in the upper right shoulder, and there was a bullet hole, and it was trickling out like maybe a little bit of blood and some fluid, and the trainers were just, I mean, the elephant was okay. I mean, obviously she was in some pain, but the trainers were in just almost uncontrollable crying because,
Holy shit.
like this is their babies. So, yeah.
What people didn't know is that elephant owed somebody some money.
She's like, don't take me back to Mississippi. Yeah.
Yeah,
She was
told
like,
you we shouldn't come here.
yeah, on the way, and she was like, "Oh shit, we should not be here." I
I had a gambling problem.
She looked at the other one and she was
Damn.
like, "Yo, bro, can you cut me a check for $250? I got this guy money. He's gonna come to the show."
Look,
It's
if I don't have that money by the time we get to Mississippi, no, but that, and
2
that's
o'clock
another
in the
thing
morning.
too.
She's like, "Told you, I told
See
you."
what happens, you jerks. Yeah.
That's another testament to like when you try to class up the South. Like I was born in the South. I've always lived in the South. I'm like, look, we're not a bunch of idiots. It's not. Some people have accents, and you automatically subtract 30 IQ points. Just don't. We're cool. It's cool. It's a great place to grow up, and blah blah blah. And then like some dick does something like that.
Absolutely.
Just when you go, the South's not that bad, and then
Mississippi's oh shit. Never
Yeah.
mind. Yeah.
they're like, wow, woo, kill it. Fucking stop.
Oh.
Jesus, man. Anyway,
I'm sure whoever did it was like, "Hey, I heard like ivory's really big on the black market. Let's go get one of those elephants at the circus."
I
And
don't
he
think
shot
that
it,
was
and
it.
the elephant went, "Pfft." And the guy's like, "Well, I'm out."
Well,
Like, I'm
also,
done.
it's an Asian elephant, and she's a female, so she doesn't have really big nose.
I don't think they knew. I don't think they
They
knew
don't.
that.
They're like, let's go shoot an elephant.
That's
Yeah.
kind of why.
Yeah.
Hey man,
Yeah.
like I like shooting big things. Guess what's in town?
Yeah.
Dick.
I bet it was the CEO of Jimmy John's.
Oh. I do not eat Jimmy John's, that motherfucker.
Okay, no. Fill me in. What is this?
Oh, he's like a
this-
big game hunter, isn't
Yeah, the owner
He-
of Jimmy John's is like a big game hunter. Like
Yeah.
he goes out, but he does like the.
he? Canned hunts, right?
From my understanding, he does like those things where he goes into like a fenced-in area
That's what they are,
and they
yeah.
release a lion that hasn't been
Yeah.
fed in a while, and he's just like, "There it is," and then he shoots it, and he's like, "Yeah, I got one."
There was a
God, I
bunch
love
of
Jimmy John's.
There was a bunch
I
of
I
gotta
did
stop eating
too.
there.
I did
Fuck.
too until I found out, and I was like,
what a fucking asshole. There was a
Yeah.
Megadeth song about that back in the day. These what they call canned hunts. It's where some rich dick like pays a ton of money to just go to like Texas, and he just stands there like barely able to hold a fucking shotgun, and they like dope the fucking animal up, and then they open the cage, and the animal barely can walk out of the cage, and he shoots it, and then he gets his picture made with it or
what's
something.
the game?
Let's say real quick, hunting is a natural and beautiful thing. Doing canned hunting is murder of an animal that doesn't understand what's happening
Yeah,
to
and
it. So
I'm not-
fuck you there.
I'm not qualified to speak on that. Is it right to kill? Like, I think I think somebody that's got a pretty intelligent opinion about it is Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And on that podcast, he talks about like, he only hunts things that where like the population is fucking so out of control that they hunt to literally keep the population down. Certain types of deer and elk, and if they don't, they're literally going to like eat each other, or like, like bears eat their young, and it's like there's supposed to be some kind of a thing where, and again, I know you're still killing an animal, and anytime a fucking animal feels pain, it breaks my heart. Like,
I can't handle
I
it.
can't.
I can't.
I don't kill bugs.
I don't either.
I'll take a fucking spider outside unless it's like in the bed with me. If anything gets in the bed,
Yep.
Nope.
if a bug gets in the bed, I kill it. Like that. That's
If
there's a
it's
point where I go, okay, this is going to be survival of the fittest, you motherfucker. But if it's on the like lamppost next, I'm like, come on, guy, you can't stay in here. The cats are going to get you.
I feel
take it
bad
outside.
killing cockroaches, dude. Like
I do too.
even
Yeah.
I do.
yeah, I'll fucking do
yeah.
it. But like, there's a point at which like when it's about to happen, I think for a second I go, the only crime this thing committed is being inside this room and not being me, and it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
do
but,
it anyways.
Lyme disease. So once you get that bad
Wait.
boy out of there,
Well, he's not saying pick it up and let it bite you, but at the same time, it's like I feel like you have to kind of look at it like either everything matters or nothing matters. Like life either matters or it doesn't. You can't go, my life matters, but bugs, like we're not the arbiter of.
look, fuck spiders. Left. I don't.
You're
I don't
that
give
guy?
a I hate.
I
'em.
love 'em.
Now listen,
I like them too.
I will say, there's been a few like orb weaver.
Yeah.
Like the big like yellow and black.
The
ones.
most horrible looking thing ever. That's the one you like.
That's the one I like.
But, like, the
'cause
But
tiny
they make
one-
really cool webs.
they
Fuck
make
yeah,
really
they
cool
are.
webs, and they also are very docile. They don't.
Yeah, they are.
However,
Most of the time, the bigger a spider is, the more docile it
wolf
is.
spiders. Mm-mm.
They're kind of
No.
aggressive, yeah.
Those are those things would be like, hey, look, it's a wolf spider. Ow, like that. No,
The most aggressive spiders I've ever seen are tiny. Like
Mm-hmm.
almost the size of like a speck of sand, and they're mean as fuck. They couldn't hurt you, but they'll jump at you.
Yeah.
We've done things at work where we're like cleaning, and like one will come out from behind something, and it'll fucking like bow up and like jump at you. It's awesome,
Uh-huh.
and you're like, are you kidding me? Really? Like you're like lint, you know?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but I think they're cool. You know, my favorite. I like the praying mantis.
Yes, I
one
just
of my
saw one
favorites.
yesterday. Yeah, it was a young one.
Every couple of years, one will come live like on the porch, and it's the best thing ever. Like I go out and it like.
Do you
it's
pray with it?
No, but if you talk to them, they'll look at you.
Yep.
Their head
Boo.
turns. They're very cognizant
Shut
of
up,
what's going
Casey.
on. And I'll be like, see you later, dude. And it looks at me. You know, back when we all used to smoke, like we would go out there to smoke
Yeah.
cigarettes, and the thing would hang out. It would come out and hang out with us until we were done, and then it would go away. It was like one of the gang, and it will kill fucking everything. No other bugs will be around anywhere. If you get one, it's kind of cool. A lot of people buy them to put them in their garden
For that reason.
because everything else
Yeah.
is in
Pesticide
deep
without the
shit.
chemicals.
Yeah, I guess.
That's
I don't
cool.
know. What else do you? How do you feel about? Let me ask you. How do you feel about wasps and hornets and stuff?
nope.
That's
Spray 'em.
close to the line for me.
Yeah, I can't understand what they're good for. I mean, I won't kill them, but I can't understand like bees. We understand why we need bees. We get
course.
that, you
Of
know.
course.
What the hell are wasps? What for the environment? What the hell do they do? Does
don't
anybody
know.
know? Like for real?
They
Like,
chew up your deck and then make a nest of horror.
Hey, here's the boring faith person answer. If anything occurs naturally, then I think it has a place here, and we don't necessarily need to know why.
Okay,
Cole,
that's
shut up.
true.
Oh, bullshit. When it's
But-
when it's flying in the car with you, I want to know why.
I didn't say
Why
that
are you
that
in
was
here?
okay.
Chase me all over the fucking yard.
That's
I wanna-
not okay,
I'm going to
but-
go in with some existential questions
Yeah,
at that point. When it gets
I've
after,
been-
we ever one fly by your ear and it does that shit and you feel it a little bit and I'm just like, oh, can't handle it.
I don't like bugs. in general. I don't know. Praying mantis would probably be pretty cool, but like,
dude, I found out that the
like when I go outside and shit's flying around my face, I'm like, get fuck out of
and
here.
you know,
So if
the only way to survive it is really to just kind of walk, just ignore them. Which
Yeah.
is the hardest thing. It's like a horror movie. Like when they're flying around your face, you're supposed to just go, nope.
Casey.
And apparently, if
Sorry.
you do that, they'll leave you alone. But if you start to get scared, it's like I'm gonna fuck you up.
Okay, test question for your level of bug hate.
Okay.
If a bug needed you to call its phone so it could find it,
I'd squish it.
at the supermarket.
I'd squish it.
you wouldn't even let the cashier
No,
call
I
it?
have its phone, and I would squish it. I'd be
Oh,
like,
there
no,
you
I
go.
know exactly where your phone is.
Oh my god.
Dead.
That's a joke from a previous episode where Casey wouldn't let someone. He wouldn't call someone's phone
That's
so they could find it.
meta humor.
I was checking out in Kroger's, and she approached me and was like, call my phone. And I was like, no.
No.
A giant
And she was
fucking
like,
praying
she
mantis.
was like, I
too.
need to know where my phone is. And I was like, okay, well, that sounds more like a you problem, not a me problem. And the cashier was like, well, I'll call your phone. And I was like, cool, you could totally have his phone number. I'm not giving you my phone number.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's see. Well, what if was she hot? Was it a girl?
Yeah, I was like, it was
For 70, she was hot, right? Is that what you said?
It was
I was
like
gonna say maybe she
the
just
way-
wanted your phone number.
the way I put it in.
Oh,
the
he
episode,
totally like
I was like, you know, like those like.
he totally profiled her. He goes like, it's a rich old white woman from Farragut. That's how he said it.
Rich.
Well, she's rich. What is wrong with you,
Dude, Jane Fonda might have cut you a check for doing that.
That's true.
I'm just saying.
We're gonna talk about these.
Get
animals.
out. Get out. of here.
I'm in here. Sorry, back to animals.
What
and bugs.
Okay, let's talk about this. There's an animal that I just learned about. This is probably old news to you, but
Am I don't know.
okay, I just now found out about it when I got home last night. I saw the sweetest video. Everybody listen to this. It's going to be like, he's a weenie. But it's an. Do you guys know what the pangolin is?
No.
Yes.
Do you know about it?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super
It's
endangered.
like a little roly poly.
No? What is it?
Maybe like a giant one.
like a giant one with like
It's like it's basically, but right now it's being like severely poached
Yes.
for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can
Yes.
you like describe it as if this weren't just a audio podcast?
Picture a cross between anteater and an armadillo.
yes.
Kind of like that.
Memphis
But in
Zoo
bug
has
form?
them.
Do
Or is
they?
it an animal?
No, it's an animal. It's not a bug.
An anteater and an
Here.
armadillo?
Yeah, it's called a pangolin. She's going to get a picture of it
It
right now.
basically
That's
looks like a
awesome.
roly poly.
Yeah, and
They're
the thing
super-
is,
yeah.
and they're so like not threatening, and they're the most incredibly poached endangered animal that you've never heard of.
There's
So-
something about it's the
Here.
armor.
Well, there's what it is in other cultures, and I'm not gonna like point out, but in other parts of the world where people are not kind and they're sort of crazy, it's prized for. They say that it has like the scales have some kind of medicinal quality, which is in no way backed up by science at all, and then it's also considered a delicacy. So
Yeah.
they'll to kill the poor things, they poach them, kill them,
Like shark fin soup kind of shit?
Yeah, shit
That's
like
fucked
that.
up.
It is
What's the
fucked
same
up.
thing with rhino horn and like no.
Ladies and gentlemen, real quick, Google it. PANGOLINS. It is the coolest fucking thing. God,
so cool.
with the language, I'm sorry. It is the coolest thing,
Yeah.
Dude,
you will ever see in
But
your
when you
life.
watch the videos, there are men now that are trying to save them, and these men like carry them on their shoulder out of the jungle, like where they're being
haven't
poached.
seen that.
It's so cute, man. The thing, as soon as they put them over their shoulder, the things just hang
do
on
they
their
like
shoulder.
duck and roll if they fall down a hill?
Yeah, they do. They
protect
roll
them
up.
in.
They roll up. But what sucks
Oh
is
my
people,
God.
even when they roll up, people just grab them and like boil them, and it's so
That's fucked up.
It's super fucked up, and they're nice creatures. Anyway, the pangolin. That's the next animal that everybody needs to get fucked up about letting people like,
Talking about boiling.
Poach.
Talking about boiling things. I love lobster. What about you?
Oh, see.
That's apparently the most humane way to kill them, and I don't.
It is.
I would imagine
Yeah.
maybe scientifically it's because they're like
I
real
just wanted
soft
a
tissue,
shitty
and then there's
segue. I
that
didn't
shell.
actually
So
want to
you,
talk about lobsters.
Oh, but but I walk through the grocery store. Do you do this? And you see them in that thing, and I can't.
and they're
take
all
it.
their
I
claws
always
are all
wanted to
fucking
rescue
tied up
them.
and shit.
I don't
Let
think they
them
do
go.
that anymore, do
But
they?
where would you?
No,
put
they
it?
do
I
that.
haven't-
Out in
do
the
they?
parking lot
Oh.
at food.
Yeah.
Where would you? I'd be like, yeah,
Run, guys!
Yeah,
No.
throw them in
They're
the creek.
No.
They're like a coyote gets one and
Which
just leaves.
Kroger's? Because the Kroger's.
The one that we shop at.
No.
They're at all
there's,
these stores.
There's not a crab. There's not a lobster tank there.
When
There's
did they
one-
get rid of it?
I think they got rid of lobster tanks all over grocery stores.
I've not seen
Bullshit.
them.
They're
but-
still at Food City.
Which one?
No.
The one in Powell, I see it all the fucking time.
All right, take a picture of it next time.
Why? You don't believe
Because-
me?
No,
I'll
I
punch
don't.
you in the fucking
'Cause I
throat.
really think there was a whole.
Why would
a
I
whole
lie
thing
about that? I
getting
see
rid-
it. I walk through there. I go to get my
Okay.
cheese and my steak
Just
and
to
my
make
little.
Casey sound wrong is why you would lie about
I
it.
see it, and I always
Put it on
go,
Instagram. Let us all know.
Put it on
how
the Beacon
wrong I
House
am.
page.
I swear it's there.
Spencer.
Okay.
You know what? I
Gauntlet
will.
throne, put it on the Beacon House
I will
page.
put it on the
I'm gonna
Beacon House
laugh
page.
when he goes there and he's like, "I swear to God, it used to be right."
No.
He's gonna Google a picture.
I see it every time, and I feel so bad for him. But I've had lobster, and it is fucking delicious. Let me ask you this. Somebody told me this one time, and it fucked me up. I grew up as a kid, and I was like, "Oh, lobster and shrimp and things are neat." And then one day, somebody fucking goes, "Oh, I don't eat lobster," and I was like, "Why not? It's like super good." I mean, I know it's expensive, but they're like, "Because it's just like a giant sea bug."
That's totally what those are.
And I was-
Crustaceans.
They
are,
said the lobster is the cockroach of
it
the
is.
sea, and I
Look
was
at
like,
a cockroach and look at a
shrimp. Shrimp is more of the cockroach.
no.
of the
It
shrimp.
screwed my whole life up. What do you feel
No,
like
that's kinda
crustaceans
fair.
are basically
The claws
insects?
would make a lobster
No,
more like a
I
beetle.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a vegetarian. I eat those things.
Yeah.
I don't ever, like, I would never, I'll eat a hamburger, but I don't ever want to kill a cow. Like,
Same.
You know what I mean? Like,
Same.
the only thing I don't eat is pork, because pigs, I took care of hogs at the zoo before, and I just can't.
Yeah.
I understand.
Just can't do it.
I understand. And I wish I could say that I don't eat pork, but
Bacon.
I do.
Bacon.
But you can have turkey bacon.
No, it's
All
not the
right.
same.
It's
pretty
not.
good.
You're right.
It's
not.
definitely not a knock against crustaceans and that sort of thing to say, but really anytime I eat them, there's a point at which I have to like fight through it because they are like beetles or cockroaches just underwater. If you look at a crab, you can say what you want about the pincers. They're essentially the big fangs. A crab is a fucking spider, but like one that's bred for
An
the
armored
ocean.
spider.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Great.
it's
Now I
totally
have
true.
to kill every crab I see
Yeah.
It's totally true though. If
and
you
then eat it.
it's like everything that exists on this planet exists or has a similarity. Like even man compared to a bird or a dog, we have the same skeletal structure as everything. It's just proportioned differently based on what species you are specifically.
we all have a common
But-
ancestor. It's a fish called, haiku ichthyes.
Yeah, but
It was the size of a fingernail, and every vertebrate ever is related to that one tiny little fish.
So from that point, though, everything has a correlating member somewhere. The like you only think of ground insects like cockroaches and spiders and shit, and these are obviously insects, but maybe people don't think about it quite the
Sure.
same. But like mosquitoes and bees and shit, the only thing that's different about them between like a cockroach or a spider is that it has wings and a stinger. And if you go into the ocean, the only thing that's different is it tastes really fucking good in butter and salt. So,
yeah.
but it's totally what it is. It's
No,
a
I
bug.
get it. And I'm just like, that screwed me up because I was like, I used to think if you could get your fucking hands on shrimp or lobster or crab, oh my God, these are delicacies. And then I'm like, these are just big insects.
The hardest is a crayfish or crawfish or whatever.
So
crawdads.
good.
See, they're so good. But
Crawfish
dude,
balls, man.
I can't handle the
Touching the little spindly legs and they go. tss, tss,
well, and
when
then,
you-
but the problem is they're like alive before they put them in that pot, and then some of them get
Oh,
out
I don't
and-
want to see that.
Oh,
Like,
dude, they ship so many of them in that they'll come and they'll fall and they'll crawl across the parking lot. And we found one, and he was trying to get away, and I tried to save it, and it died. And like I put it in water, and it didn't work because probably the wrong kind of water. It's like tap water. I know I'm
It's
such an
it's
idiot.
Here's
but
chlorine water.
and they're like a little lobster. They're totally like just a miniature lobster, and they'll kind of like grab your finger. Anyway,
Yeah, I used
honestly-
to, whenever we went we have a mountain house up in North Carolina, and anytime we'd go visit with the family up there, me and the cousins would go look for crawdads.
yeah,
Yep.
it's a thing.
That's the thing
So,
we do in the South.
Yeah,
Do they do that up
kill-
north?
we kill
I don't
shit.
think so.
as messed up as it sounds, if
they
you
have
really
that plus 30 IQ.
Shit.
We don't go play in the creek.
Yeah, well, by God, them
Yeah,
northerners, they dang old crawfish.
We're settlers getting right off the boat, and we just sound like this.
He's making fun of me about a previous episode where we talked about dialects. So anyway, yeah. So things we eat. I don't know.
Can I
what
be
do you think
honest?
about insects? What do you think about people that eat insects? Have you ever eaten any insects?
yeah,
Cricket- you eat
it's really
crickets?
fucking weird, but only God language, whatever. I'll start next episode. Don't shake your head at me, Casey. I'm trying to be a better person.
Just
You
have
can learn from
have
that.
your internal dialogue
Yeah.
internally.
Could you save your existential crisis for when you're not on the podcast, please?
No, the listeners want to know.
They don't though.
Again, like with the crabs underwater and shit, it's you look at a cow or whatever, and you go, that's okay because it's a little furry and it's big and it's out eating grass. And then you look at a spider and you go, you might be okay except you're smaller and furry and you hide in the walls. It's based on where they live and what they do is why we don't like them. And that's just everything is relative, which is true. So that's what's wrong with it.
But
As
I feel
far
like
as eating them,
I
it
think
makes
the meat,
sense.
to me, the meat seems meat you would get out of a bug is
wouldn't
very
be,
questionable compared to like a giant shoulder of lamb or cow or something. Which again, I know there's still a cruelty to it, but like
As far as health or like size,
I don't know, like a rack of ribs seems a lot safer to eat than like a bunch of spider meat.
Do spiders have meat?
Yeah.
Or are they
You'd
just
have to
like,
eat a lot of spiders,
Okay.
I guess.
it depends though.
I
'cause,
suppose
like,
so. Yeah.
The ribs will give you like mad cow or something else depending on which animal it is, and the spiders, as long as they're cooked properly, like it's just protein. And I don't
How
know
do you
what
know
it is
so much about cooking bugs?
because I watch TV all the time.
I mean, I do too, but I don't run across bug cooking TV shows.
Well, that's fair, but I like to culture myself a little bit.
Oh,
So-
wow. Wow, okay. I
no,
watch
but if
Anthony
you, like,
Bourdain
if you-
too, thank you.
Too soon.
Too soon?
Too soon.
Edit.
Too soon.
Edit that out.
We'll leave it in there.
Oh no.
We'll leave that in there.
But recorded
R.I.P.
live, not aired live. But yeah, no. If you really think about it, like all the nutrients and shit that go with anything is, again, by its nature, it's compact within the shell that we have, man and cows and all that.
Sure.
So as small as the meat is, it's as long as it's cooked properly, it's going to naturally be more potent in a good way, I guess,
Right.
for you, because it's everything that makes that living thing exist and function the way that it does, but inside of like a 2-inch square piece or whatever. So, I mean, that's why I don't think the meat, like whether or not it's gross, but
I mean, some people think things are gross that most. I mean, there's a level of perception there, but anyway,
Can I just admit something real quick?
sure.
no.
I've never been to the circus. Oh, never once.
That's
This is
sad.
more shocking than the voting thing.
What's weird, and the reason it's very silly. I don't like clowns,
I knew you were going to say that.
and I know
I should have known he was going to say that.
I knew
I
it,
know-
because that's always the reason why people don't go to the circus.
Are you fucking serious?
so
I'm not
strange.
a fan. I'm not, and I know it's probably one of those things that's like maybe 10 minutes of the actual whole circus show,
Well, no,
but
let's let Jessica talk. Like, you were actually on the road with clowns.
No.
You lived with these people.
I loved the clowns.
I was going to say, is it scary? Are they weird? Or are they just like the coolest freaking people?
They are probably the coolest, funnest people to hang out with.
Like, what kind of a person goes, I'm going to fucking do this. I'm going to be a clown.
It's let's just say, like, behind the scenes in the circus, like it was like a crazy different type of culture. You had people from all over the place. You had people from Russia, Cuba, like anywhere. So there's all these different cultures.
Yeah.
But then we had our own circus culture. So, and it was like completely fun, but inappropriate.
Sure.
So anything that was, they're probably all gonna kill me if they hear this. Anything that was backstage behind the curtain, we would talk. You had these clowns in full makeup saying the dirtiest, craziest things, and then they're going out putting on the show in front of all these kids, and they're great.
Sure.
You're like, I can't believe that person just said blah blah blah, and then they're out there like, hey kids,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're awesome.
I
I
think
would
if I were
imagine
to
they're almost like stand-up comedians.
Yes.
Like, that's the vibe I would get.
Yes.
You know?
Every small child has walked in and ruined sex for their parents before. It's no different than that. It's literally the same thing. It's just you're getting paid for it. So.
There you go. There you go.
I just, I think if I were to see something like that, it'd change my mind. But the clown experiences I've had growing up were never great. And it was never like some cool comedian guy dressed in clown makeup. It was just some guy like, yeah, here's a balloon animal. All right, I'm going to go behind this thing and smoke some crack and drink a beer. I don't know. Like, they just seem really unhappy, but they have this big smile painted on their face.
Yeah.
And, like,
Where did
go
you have
from
your birthday parties?
I didn't say it was a birthday party. It
Georgie.
was like carnivals and stuff that
I
you
was
would
just
Yeah.
wandering a bad part of town. And there's a guy with makeup.
Maybe it
looked
wasn't
safe.
a clown. Maybe
Yeah, maybe that wasn't a clown. Shit.
I will say, like, people that are afraid of clowns, it is associated with the weird, like, Ringling did the way that the clowns did their own makeup was a little different than like the traditional. They used to do it like that, but then it kind of evolved. And I will say, people with the traditional type, like weird makeup, that's what bothers people for some
Yeah.
reason. I don't know, but yeah, I
And
love them.
There is I know that there's like a certain side of like the whole clown image that gets portrayed that's kind of dark. I remember the first Mr. Bungle album. All the artwork was this like guy in clown makeup, but he looked like old and like decrepit and kind of scary. And like, he was like, one picture, he was like sprawled across the hood of this car with like a bottle of liquor. And like, so there's like a dark clown image, but like every time I've ever seen clowns in person, like doing their job, they were like super fucking funny and cool and like fun to watch. And, you know.
And what's weird is like the new It movie that came out.
Right.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Skarsgård, Pennywise,
Amazing.
amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
And a lot of people, like the Clown Association, is that a thing?
I don't know.
It's like it was like a group of people who like ran a clown organization,
Like the Clown Guild.
Kinda, yeah. But
Lollipop
they got
Kids.
after the director and stuff for that movie, being like, "Oh, this shows clowns in a bad light." And I was like, "Look, I'm already afraid of you, so
You're good.
to put it in a horror movie is not going to change my mind one way or another."
I think the origin of a lot of that shit is you're a kid. If you see anybody dressed up in weird makeup or a costume, it can be scary. I remember my parents telling me as a child, I was terrified as like a young child when we would go to these things and I would meet like a guy dressed up like Darth Vader or like there was one guy dressed like an Indian, just like an American Indian, and it was terrified me. So I think there's a point when you're a kid and you see anybody in a costume, you go, "Oh, what the fuck is that?" I've only ever seen my parents, you know.
Well, I think it's also like, you know, with the makeup, it seems like they're
hiding something.
But also for me, it's with the voice, like, you know, clowns like, "Hi, Billy," and then like when the curtains close, they're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ," you know, and you're like, "Oh my God, it's a completely different person."
I think more than Stephen King's It, what's going to cause damage to clowns is there was the national scare that was regional, and it turned out was probably blown out of proportion, where they were like moving through southern states threatening people. But there were corroborated reports in our local news here in Knoxville just a couple years ago of individuals dressed as clowns that were not even necessarily threatening people, but they were just going to like parks at night, which is already illegal, I guess, but they would just go and sit and watch people or just stand there and watch people.
The clowns all over downtown and shit?
Yeah.
A lot of people thought it was a marketing ploy for the movie It.
Yeah, but it started before that. And then there's also, when that first happened, I looked it up, and there was some footage, and I don't think it was here in Knoxville, but it was one of the states where this was happening. And it might have just been like basically a flash mob, but some people were like, "Hey, let's scare the shit out of some people."
I think that's a terrible idea in the South, just like the elephant.
With the
like, if you're like the Southerners are gonna like if they see a guy standing there in clown makeup, are gonna shoot him or beat the shit out of him.
shoot you. Yeah,
You picked the wrong part of the country to go. Let's dress up like clowns.
But we all have guns here, okay?
There was a lady that had one of those night vision cameras that just like records when she records at her front door, and she fucking caught somebody, and I don't remember what it is, and I'd have to
They
Google
like
it.
came up on the porch and smashed a pumpkin, right?
Yeah, they did something weird. Came up on the porch, did something weird, saw the camera, and just put their face there and was like, "Hey," just like looking or waving or something, then walked away. To my knowledge, never threatened her again. That's a psychological warfare thing, though. So, I mean, that's what it is. But that more than the fictional shit, and it's scary anyways. But that more than anything is going to be probably what makes people feel a little weird about it.
That's true. I get that. Look, moving off the topic of the circus real quick, I kind of wanted to like, I feel like it's worth telling everybody. There was, a couple years ago when they had the horrible fires up in the Smoky Mountains here, and Gatlinburg, so much of it burned down, and there was a danger to the aquarium. They thought the aquarium was going to burn down, and it was horrifying, and like everybody's watching on the news, and luckily the fire stopped before it got to the aquarium, but like a lot of homes burned down, a lot of the forest burned down, lots of animals were killed. And Jessica was one of the people that went there all the time. She volunteered so much of her time. She was active on social media. She basically organized the entire fucking city of Knoxville. Seriously, like where you could drop off and make donations. And I know me and my friend Rachel went, and we dropped off water and anything we could find at the 94.3.
Or no, you took it up there. Yeah,
we took it to 94.3. Also over at the Blonde Olive with Taylor. And I mean, like, man, it was just, I just kind of want to give you props, which I'm sure you've gotten a lot of those. But man, you were a friggin' champion. And I remember by the time it even happened, I contacted you. You were like, "I'm already on my way." And you headed up there, and you volunteered at all these, like, can you talk a little bit about that, about what it was like? I know people were just bringing animals into the shelters up there, and like.
It was crazy. It was, so I was actually off. I think it happened on a Monday into a Tuesday in late November of 2016. Was it 2016?
That sounds right.
Right? Maybe 2017. I don't remember. But anyway, I remember seeing the image of the fire behind the aquarium, and I just started thinking, like, what if that was the zoo? Like, I know they're going to try to make all those people that work there leave for their safety, but I was just upset for the people that care about those animals. So at the time, my boyfriend at the time, I said, we're not getting any sleep tonight, and we're going tomorrow to go help people, like, regardless. And
that's why we fucking love her. 'Cause she's such a badass. I'm like, I mean,
hop in the car. Let's go.
Well, and my mom works at, she works at Mortgage Investors, and people there gave me cash, gave me all the money they could, gave me checks. We went over to Walmart. We bought crates. We bought food. We bought cat litter, everything. And we went into, we started into Sevierville, and our phone started going off, saying basically turn your phone off because it would interrupt all the emergency stuff that was going on. And we went to the Barker Lounge that's on Chapman Highway. And I walked in. I said, I have a lot of stuff to donate. I'm also a tech. I work with animals. Do you guys need help? And they were like, what? Yes, come back here. And so I was there all day. People had brought in animals that either they had to evacuate and they didn't have anywhere else to take their animals.
Right.
In the process of that, some animals got hurt. And then sometimes some people would come in there looking for their animals. So I helped there that first couple of days. I had a couple of vets that I knew come out, and they gave free service. They, fixed some of the animals up that needed help. After that, the Humane Society in Sevierville went to the fairgrounds and set up this whole thing. And people from vets from New Jersey, from up north, were coming in, driving in, flying in to come help, just donate their time. And I would go up there once or twice a week on my days off, and I would help with any animals that were injured, just walk the animals if there was nothing medical to do, or feed them or take care of them or whatever. A lot of animals either just got misplaced or whatever, and so people would come and adopt them, or mostly it was a lot of cats that were affected, so that would come in.
That's so sad.
Kitties.
Yeah. They had burnt paws, whiskers gone, singed hair, smoke inhalation, So, I went up there as much as possible to go help, and it was they had a crazy setup. They finally got it together and had a whole little hospital set up.
That's incredible.
So, yeah.
And obviously, we would prefer to live in a world where nothing ever gets hurt and no animals ever suffer, and but we don't live in that world. Mm-hmm. And the absolute next best scenario is to live in a world full of people like you, and you're perfect. And you've saved so many fucking animals, and you've inspired so many people. And I'm not kidding.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously, yeah. Let's get one of those right there. But no, and I was the whole time all that was going on, I was basically just kind of waiting to get cues from you, and I was watching you, and you were so good about it. You putting it up on social media, and the minute I would see it, I would go, okay, here's what we got to do.
Yeah,
and we would go from there.
But it was awesome. Yeah.
It was super, super awesome.
Yeah.
And I tried to take kind of a page out of your book when they had the fire up at the Little Ponderosa out in Clinton, which is a little place I love going. And they had a fire at the barn burned down. They lost a bunch of animals. There was so many sad stories, man.
Mm-hmm.
They had a little donkey, and they got it out, and then it ran back in the barn because it didn't know where to go. And they have a dog out there, and the dog was saving animals. It kept running in and bringing animals out. And anyway, we organized a big fundraiser in Knoxville so we would get all this money to try to help them. But I remember thinking, what would Clowers do? And I think I texted you the night I heard about it.
You did.
Holy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were the first person I thought to call about it. But just you've been such, I don't know. I can't even
Animal
imagine.
hero.
Yeah, totally. Seriously.
Thanks.
It's huge. It's huge. And just, I'm sure you've helped a lot of people understand a lot more about animals and stuff. So real quick, just so before we start to wrap up a little bit, what can people do? What can people do to help either the zoo or a local cause? Or is there anything you feel like anybody should know? If somebody's a big fan of animals, they want to help animals, they're not really sure what to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can adopt and do it. Get in the fucking shelter and adopt animals, man. I can't imagine having a life without a whole bunch of cats or dogs or something in it. Get out there and do it, man. The next time, if you need a friend, go get one. They need a friend too, But what else can people do? Are there other things?
They can volunteer in some places. Even the zoo has a volunteer program. If anybody's interested in doing stuff like that, we rely heavily on our volunteers to help us with stuff. Like you said, adopt. Just care. They have feelings. It's a living thing. It's not a piece of paper or something you can just push to the side. Bring them. It's hot outside. Bring them in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Don't walk them when it's hot. Don't, put them in air conditioning, give them water. Like, just don't mistreat them,
Absolutely. I think that's huge.
Thank you for coming. And
Thank
you
you.
are an animal superhero.
Thank you.
Or a superhero to animals. She's not an animal that happens to be a superhero.
I could be an animal sometimes. It just depends on what
Yeah,
night it is.
That's a fact.
You can be whatever
I've been
you
at
want.
Sassy Ann's with you. Shit, that happens.
God.
That happens, yeah.
Please come back though. Like I
absolutely.
want to dig in deeper with this as far as like animals and all that stuff.
Okay.
I think we barely scratched.
I
the
want to talk
surface
to you
on
about
that.
cryptozoology. I want to talk about
Oh,
Bigfoot.
we should have her on for that
Shit,
episode.
yeah, like animals that might exist, they might not exist.
Dude, I want
Animals
that
that
stuff
do
to
exist,
exist
but we
so
just
bad.
haven't
Fucking
found.
need to.
I'm
We're
like,
gonna do.
unicorns are real.
Yeah,
Unicorns are real.
We're gonna do an episode about cryptozoology, probably a little closer to like October, maybe.
Yeah.
but we're into it. And one of my favorite stories was like the whole the thing that they based the movie Brotherhood of the Wolf on, and that was a real creature.
Beast of
the beast of Le Gebedon.
Gadon or something like
Gadon.
that.
I want to talk about the Beast of Brer Road.
What the fuck is that?
It's like a big werewolf-looking
Okay,
beast.
we'll get into that.
We got to.
We'll get into it. Jessica, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
We absolutely, we adore you, and you're great, and you speak so well about what people can do to help animals and understand. You guys, listen, go see her at the zoo. Go to the zoo, visit the animals, volunteer, fucking do something this week to help an animal. And I'm going to add to that too. If you guys are catching this on social media, like on our Instagram or Facebook, whatever, send us pictures of your animals.
Oh,
I would love to fill Facebook up with a picture of people's pets, animals, anything, a cool animal you saw this week, whatever. Something you did to help the pangolin.
Especially if you have a pet raccoon. Send me a picture of that. 'Cause I want one so bad.
You like that?
I want a pet raccoon that sits on the couch, eats Cheetos, and just watches shitty cartoons with me.
They had raccoons recently at the exotic animal thing.
Expo, yeah.
Expo thing. I got to go to that for just a minute, and I met a badger. Incredible. And it was friends with the guy, and the guy goes in the cage with the badger, and like they're super friends. It's the badger's name is Cheddar.
cheddar.
Yes. And I mean, I was captivated. So anyway, guys, the band next door is gearing up to play a little bit.
Jesus.
So they need to shut up over there.
We're going to go ahead and sign off anyway. But thank you Jessica, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You guys check out Jessica Clowers. You can find her on social media. She will tell you how to take care of animals in your area and how to donate and how to be volunteer and how to be a superhero, just like her. And follow us on social media. You guys got anything else?
Nope, just roll that beautiful Paris Monster footage.
All right, guys, we're going to come out on another amazing thing, another song by Paris Monster. Also, check them out on social media, at
Great
the
stuff.
Paris Monster or Paris_Monster on Facebook. Find those guys. They're incredible. And I've been Spence,
I'm Hunter.
I'm Casey.
and we'll see you guys next time.
You say in love we tend to hide. We lose ourselves, we die inside. Devotion takes the place of self-reliance. Soon we'll follow pride. And that is why I cannot listen to your grammar, not now. I never lost myself at all. I may have slipped, I didn't fall. I never hit, I didn't die. My pride's intact, I'm standing tall. I gave her everything till everything was letting her down.